Mm.
Okay, and we're live this time
Hey,
for real. Uh, is the internet gonna let us be great tonight? Hopefully so. Guys, this is another episode of the breakdown. But this time it's not how we usually come to you. It's not a YouTube video, it's not pre-recorded. We did not edit out any of the crazy stuff that Xavier is gonna say. It's gonna be live tonight,
Word.
actually live here right now. It's your boy Young Rev alongside MCK, alongside Xavier. All right, I'm going to say the full name because you know editing tonight.
oh
Alongside
boy,
Christina Noel, and tonight we got a
oh boy.
special building, Mister. What do we say, Eman? Is it Eman? Is it E Drizzle? Is it Emmanuel? Is it what do we say? What do we say?
At this point, it's whatever, bro. It's whatever.
It's whatever.
Okay, okay, Mr. Whatever. Mr. Whatever. We're so glad to have you here on the show. As you know that we've been doing this web show. We started this called The Breakdown, and it's about CHH, right? We know that CHH is a very niche community, but this is something that we've been led to do, and just start the conversation, get the conversation rolling, and at the end of the day, it's all about glorifying God and bringing attention to this space and all of the creatives who occupy this space. So we're glad for having you here, buddy.
Appreciate it, man. Let's get into it.
All right, most definitely. Let's get into it. So, first things first, Eman, and we're gonna just kind of chime in and throw the questions back and forth at you, as we get into this conversation. We want to know,
Right.
Eman. We want to know. We're coming off of our first three episodes. We were talking about our personal favorite CHH artists, and then we compiled a full list of who we believe the top 10 CHH artists is, and we want to know, Iman. We want to hear another rapper's perspective. Who you got? Even if you can't give us your top 10, I know it may
Top
be.
five.
Yeah, give us the top five at least. Who you got?
My top five.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
top five.
My top five would be Derek Minor.
Which
Oh,
way? Which way you going? You going 5-1 or?
Five.
All
I
right.
can't. I don't make you list no ten,
All
bro. But
right. So
Derek
that's number
Minor.
five.
Derek Minor. Then I got. Then I got Bizzle.
Oh wow.
Then I
Okay.
got
Okay. Okay.
Andy,
Mm-hmm.
KB, NF.
And
whoa!
that's
Hmm.
number
NFL
one.
fun.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. You
Wow.
come. You come from my list, and NF is your number one.
NF, bro, all day, bro.
You sure? You can't be serious. I've never heard anyone ever say NF is their number one. That's
Bro,
crazy.
you cannot have a conversation about the greats and not mention NF. That's fucked, bro.
Oh my
Fuck.
Wow.
The greats.
That's
Word.
fucked.
Wow. The
We
great.
certainly did not have a conversation about the greats.
But NF is no. That's a very Iman list though. That's a very like Bizzle in there. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, I
Yo,
see.
Yeah.
most of his list didn't even make our top 10. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
wow.
Yeah, at least you had Andy in there.
True.
That's the only person you're gonna acknowledge. You're not gonna acknowledge
Yeah.
NF, bro.
No, I will not. I
What?
can't not
Oh my goodness.
acknowledge NF. I can't do it.
Okay,
Wow.
so let me ask
What
you,
you got
who
against
right
NF,
now?
bro?
No, let's be real. Who right
Mhm.
now is killing it more?
Oh wow. Ooh.
Anyone else?
Today, like
Who?
right as we speak.
Who? Right
KB,
now, as we speak.
Yeah, KB,
KB.
you got Andy still out
No,
there.
bro. And when I say who killing it more, I'm talking influence and impact, bro.
KB.
Influence and back, you're talking about like some white kids in suburban America or something, but like no,
Bro,
who bumping
God.
NF seriously?
bro, everybody, bro, everybody.
FCK, you hating, bro.
Hating
Nah,
again.
these dudes, bro, these dudes. If you watch these dudes, bro, KB, Lecrae, whoever, these dudes
Mhm.
would take a few weeks before they even hit 1 million views, bro. And if in a 24-hour period, that one is over.
You don't think that
Ooh,
nothing to do with his white skin?
no, it has nothing to do with it.
I
I'm
think
sure,
I don't
bro.
I
Have
don't
you
ever
have you
expect to be called
you even just be on the
um
internet, bro? Everybody feels for that, bro.
I don't
I
expect to
one
be
of them
called
listening to.
controversial again on the show. Okay? I don't expect to be called controversial anymore on the show after this
What do you
conversation.
think about NF, Christian?
I actually agree with him because a lot of people going through the emotions that NF raps in. Like he talks about
Mhm.
real
Exactly.
issues. A lot of people struggling.
Mhm.
So see it. It makes sense.
I mean, don't get me wrong. NF, we're gonna get. Don't get me wrong. NF, NF. I get the appeal behind him. I get like that vulnerability, but to
Mhm.
say like anywhere near top five, I don't see it. I just don't. I don't get it.
All right.
So you
Bro, the
putting
man has
NF in
the
a category
bars.
like
He
logic
has
then.
the bars. You
He
cannot
does
take away from him. He has the bars. He has the cadence. He has the delivery, the message, bro. He got it, bro. You cannot
The
take away
most I
from that.
could give him is 11. 11. That's being generous. Like
Oh man.
you're talking about, you gotta remember there's dudes like Essel, that there's dudes like Aha Gazelle out there. And then there's the young dudes coming
First
up
of
like
all, I don't even feel Giselle deserves to be a part of the list.
why?
That's just me.
Okay, make an argument. Because what?
Ooh.
Because actually him and NF kind of parallel because the two of them more contemporary. They ain't really CHH.
No, we ain't talking contemporary or CHH. I just feel the man. Don't get me wrong, he is
Mm-hmm.
good. I don't feel top 10. That's a no-no, bro. You
Boy,
got too much people out there who will literally eat this man alive for him to be top 10. That's
boy,
facts.
Wow.
you making some bold statements.
Like,
You making some
I
bold.
do what he
Okay,
does,
so
bro.
you think NF hit harder than Aha?
Yes, straight
Obviously.
up.
Yeah,
That's without
as I was
question.
saying, it was number one on his list. I mean,
Wow, that's hey, I
to
ain't gonna
All right.
knock them
to
out
each
for
his
his
own.
list.
To
So
each his
Eman,
own. You
that's
put it, but to each his own.
quite an interesting list. But we definitely, that's something I feel that we've never agreed on this panel outside of
Mhm.
the top 10 combined list, and even that was met with a few arguments. But we just want to know, like, as an artist, what have you been up to lately? We know that you're still newlywed, recently
Yep.
married. We know you've been
Congrats,
working on a
boy.
lot of creative
Appreciate it.
endeavors. So just speak on all of that, like what's been happening in the world of Eman over the last few months, over the last year. So how has life changed? How has life been different for Eman the artist and then Eman the man?
Um, right now, I'd say life has gotten a lot better. You know what I mean? Um, I can honestly say, I can honestly say that my wife has added so much to my ministry, and as an as an artist and as a Christian, you know what I mean, and being able to deliver and be consistent. Because before that, it was like okay, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, but my wife, she literally pushes me even when I don't want to do it. She forces me to in a good way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And But apart from the artistry or whatever, my marriage is amazing. My amazing. That's literally how I could describe it. It's beautiful. I couldn't ask for nothing better. You know what I mean? Is dope. But as for right now, the album is completed.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Eman
It's
album done.
Mhm.
yeah, it's done. uh it's in the process of mixing and mastering right now. Shout outs to TM from TAG for that. He working on it right now as we speak.
Yes.
But I feel like I may possibly drop by December, hopefully.
Okay, Christmas
December.
The
Carolyn.
the album is called Inevitable.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, you
Yeah.
heard it here first. Eman is dropping December 2nd. And
What's that?
I mean, like you put a specific date on this.
He just said
You gotta give a prophecy, so we don't know. Might be December 2nd.
that might be, hey, listen, if it is what it is, then it is what it will be. But that's good, man.
Yeah.
Listen, Eman, we've seen you evolve. First of all, many people may not know, but I remember, it was around the same time, yourself, Gospel Boys, myself, MCK. First of all us was skinnier back then. With the exception of Stocks, he stayed the same.
Oh man, that's muscle, bro.
Yeah, but the Lord has increased all of us. Uh, all right, I'm just goofing around.
good old
But
Rev.
yeah, so listen, it's been a long journey, man, and we've all evolved in different ways, shape, or form. But yourself, you've started off, as the rapper. I remember, I always would have seen like Eman. You would have always seen like person's influences. I remember MCK. I was like kind of heavy Kanye, Lil Wayne influence.
Mhm.
You know, me, I was kind of all over the place back then. And I remember Iman, you kind of reminded me of this hardcore like Ace Hood, in your face rapper.
I said on Nuke.
Perfect analogy,
Yeah,
by the
man,
way.
it's definitely. And over the years, you've evolved to doing more than just rap. Now you're getting into, or now you're fully into the creative process. Of video producing. Of the recording process and all of the other endeavors. That helps to bring the music and helps to bring the vision to life. And I just want you to touch on how has that been. Evolving from just the artist to now being behind the scenes more and now helping other persons to produce their vision and exactly what it is that they want to see come to life.
Uh, with that process, I didn't ask for it. Let me say that. You know what I mean? It literally it just happened. You know what I mean? Uh, I just it's just like recording music. I didn't want to record songs by myself or record other people, engineer, mix stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just that I used to bother this guy so much. I used to go by the Hope Center every day. I don't know if you guys remember Jigga from by the Hope Center in
Mhm.
Platinum Soldiers. I used to go there every day with a different song. I need you to record me. I need you to record me. And then he got so tired of me coming every day because he was doing the video production there and all that too. He said I'll teach you how to use Pro Tools, and that's
Yeah.
how that come about. So after that, I started helping a bunch of artists. You know what I mean? Record their songs, mixing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then time went by, and I think it was in 2015 or 16 when I went to Fort Lauderdale to shoot the video for Make Me Over. And as we was over there shooting, this guy asked me if I wanted to buy a camera for $100. Little Canon. I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, all right, cool, no pressure.
Right.
And the guy who shot Make Me Over, he couldn't edit it. He couldn't edit it because of something happened. So I just asked him to send me over the files. You know what I mean? So that's when I went on YouTube and I was like, okay, let me learn this. You know what I mean? So I started looking at tutorials on Final Cut and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and then I edited the making of a video for myself, and that was my first video. And after that, that's where the passion started to grow. You know what I mean? But what I can see, what I saw God doing with all of it was literally trying to put me in a place where not having to depend so heavily on people, especially me. When I see something, I want to get it done right there and then.
Mhm.
And depending on people, that doesn't work all the time in your favor. So I literally saw where I see now where God uh was putting me in a place where as soon as he give it to me, he wants it done.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I have a question that kind of ties to that question. You have a
Yeah.
song, Uneducated Intellect, and it touches on basically the same sort of subject here. And, what I really like about the message in the song is not being someone who excelled at what we call traditional schooling, and then you talked about how your passion still made you into a success. And you, just as you said, you went on YouTube and you learned some stuff and started your own thing, and
Right.
especially in these current times which we're in this country, you see a lot of people with their different entrepreneurial pursuits to try and mitigate the impact of COVID on their financial lives. So, what do you think, as not just an artist, but your impact in the Bahamas and on the youth? What sort of idea would you like the youth to get about being more independent and being thinking outside the box in terms of financial freedom?
I'd say it's a mind thing. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And a lot of people haven't grasped at that yet. You know what I mean? A lot of
mm,
people
mm.
these days, a lot of people want to go the entrepreneurial route. You know what I mean? But at the same time, a lot of people are still stuck in the old. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what I would say is because everybody has a dream, everybody has a goal, everybody has something you want to do. But what I'd say is there is the difference between uh having a desire to do something. There is a difference in having a desire to do something and having a mind to do something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm,
We all have
mm,
we all could have a desire. You a big person could have a desire to lose weight, but you don't have the mind for it because you ain't doing nothing about it.
It's me and big
You know
people. It's me.
what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'd say the desire is cool, but do you
right,
have a mind for it? And
right.
I mean, we got to develop a mind to get in that mindset of what we actually want to do. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because a lot of artists these days have the desire to get music out there, but sadly, studio time costs a
Mm,
lot. You know what I mean? Videos cost a lot, but they have the desire, but they have no mind to get out there. You know what I mean? So you know what? Let me buy a mic. Let me buy a little laptop. Let me get Pro Tools. You know what I mean? Let me
right,
do what I
right,
gotta
right,
do to get it done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So yeah.
for sure.
right.
Now, Eman, one of the things that we definitely and this is where we're going to spend the next 20 minutes for the remainder of the show. And we want you to chime in on this. We feel like knowing that we wanted to have this conversation and wanted to start the conversation, we feel like you probably will be one of the most qualified to speak on this subject. And that's simply because over the years, you have been a model of consistency. You've always put out great music. You've always produced top quality, and and everything that you do. And you've proven yourself over this period of time. And like you said, you have a new project dropping December 2nd. I mean December. Um, and and once again, just proving and just taking your music and your artistry to the next level. But I know, all of us here are so involved in the Christian hip hop community. MCK would know, Xavier would know, Christina would definitely know that over the last few years, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, what we see now wasn't so. There was like a concert now, minus the COVID-19, but still, there was like a concert going on every Friday night. Youth ministries was popping. Artists was dropping stuff like everywhere you turn. It was new music
Mm,
out. It was just an excitement. about I remember the Camp Bahamas days, all of this stuff was happening, and it was
Mhm.
just an excitement about being a young Christian, right? And me,
Yeah.
who is someone who is in youth ministry, not just in youth ministry, but leading youth ministry and also helping other youth ministry leaders, there seems to not be an excitement about young people and God nowadays. But I want to take it a bit further. The responsibility that we have as artists, who have the ability to reach young people, young adults and teenagers through our music. But there's been a tremendous decline. There's been a tremendous fall off over the last how many years now. We're going on, and there seems to be like sometimes someone will pop up. This person will pop up. This person, but it has not been like any new voices or much new voices. There hasn't seemed to be much opportunities. It almost seems stagnant, like it's not going anywhere. And if you want to make things happen, like you talked about earlier, you have to be now willing, due to lack of opportunity, to say, what, I'm gonna have to make this happen. I'm gonna have to kind of push down the door. I'm gonna have to, put the money into this. I'm gonna have to really step outside of the box and step outside of faith and make this happen. So I'm saying all of that to say, what would you describe right now as our state of CHH locally here in the Bahamas? And even if you see that tying into what's happening internationally, we want you to just chime in on that.
So what is the? I didn't get the question.
So basically, what I was trying to say is a bunch of CHH artists, kind of this is perceived falling off, right? Like a lot of people fall off. Like the movement ain't the same. It's
Mhm.
really different. Um, do
Mhm.
you like acknowledge like that's a thing? And like what do you think like some of the root of that is, if it is a thing?
I feel like a lot of artists has fell off. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I personally feel like more are still on track than those that have fell off. You know
Hmm.
what I
Mhm.
mean? You just don't really hear from them as much as those who have fell off. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And um, I think I think like the way it is for us over here and the way it is over there on a more larger scale, I think it has to do with desire and distraction. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm,
Yeah, feel
that's
like
good.
the more do you desire to be so big and more mainstream that you get distracted from what actually is the goal or what the vision is. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? To actually push more Jesus and give the people Jesus. Now, like I say, the reason like when I say there are more people who are still pushing more Jesus than those who have kind of watered down, like you can literally tell who the prince of this world is, because those who really um preach Jesus ain't as out there as much as those who water it down so much. So you know what I
Hmm.
mean? But regardless of it, dudes doing their thing, you know what I mean? Dudes pushing, and I love it, you know what I mean? I personally still have the mindset that, bro, regardless of if I ever make it there. Because to be honest, I also have a desire, as every local CHH artist, have the desire to do something on a grand scale. You
Right.
know what I mean? But me personally, if in my heart, if it was to take away from the desire to push Jesus like other dudes, because the heart is wicked and deceitful, like the Bible say.
Mhm.
Certain things of my heart I may not be able to see. That if I get to that
Right.
point, there's a possibility that, bro, you could get there, because dudes don't. It happens so quick. Sometimes you don't even realize it.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I prefer that even if I can't see that the possibility that I could get there, that, you know what, bro, I prefer to stay where I'm at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now that's me personally.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, but dudes, bro, dudes. I guess it's a thing where um let me take it back to I'll take it back to Adam and Eve. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Going way
Dudes,
back.
when when the enemy when the enemy came to them, he didn't tell them a lie. Give them straight truth. God did say, "Don't touch the tree." You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
did give them fact, but one thing, one thing that he did, what really got them was he gave them a desire for something else, regardless of what
Right,
God said.
Mm-hmm.
right.
So you see that? Yeah, and I feel like that's where a lot of dudes go wrong when it comes to the internet. Even to be honest, even over here, we got some dudes who fall off because this don't make no money. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because they can't get on stage all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? They get distracted and you fall off.
Do you see like a responsibility to like the OGs, right? The CHH locally. Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like they have a responsibility to like kind of help younger artists or yeah, get younger artists to progress and to like be able to make that transition into more mature artists? Or do you feel like basically everybody, have to be accountable for their own self most, more so than OGs helping?
Uh I'd say if you feel a need to help, then that's cool. But I don't think it's a responsibility.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I feel like if God give you a vision or give you a gift, then bro, that's on you to make it happen. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But at the same time, if you feel like you want to help somebody, then bro, by all means, you know what I mean? Like for me
Yeah.
personally, when I first started in this, I always felt the need to help dudes, and I feel like when it comes to helping dudes, I've done that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So yeah, I don't think it's a responsibility because God gave you the vision, God gave you the music. Nah, it's up to you,
Right.
dude. You gotta do it.
And my position on that is interesting because it's like you have the vision, everybody have our own individual vision, right? But like if we goal orientated, like if we have a goal of like we have to reach these demographics or these set of people, um, you would actually look at it as almost like tag teaming, or you would look at it as, I sub in for you because the ultimate goal is to like to win the game. So for me, in my
Yeah.
experience, I think a lot of the times the OGs wasn't really there to guide us because we're talking about 10 years back, 8 years back. How old you was 10 years back?
Yeah, I was 16, bro.
You was 16. You see what I'm saying? I was,
Yeah.
but I don't even say how old I was. I was 20. You see what I'm saying? I was 20 years old. So you're talking about
Live
you're
your
talking
truth, bro.
you're talking about kids, right? And then the OGs at the time, they're probably 27, 30, and that's something to take into consideration. They're young too. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like there's no way you could expect young dudes to be effective and to like kind of stay the part at 19, 20, 21 if you ain't no guidance from the dudes who like already kind of maneuver to 2021. And I think
Well,
there's a responsibility in my mind. Like for instance, you're an OG now, right? You're an OG now. Um, I feel, I just my personal feel. I feel like you have a responsibility. We have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to put on to a certain extent. Yeah, I have my own thing, my own gifting or whatever. But it's like if I don't show this dude to watch out for this thing that I know is a thing, we kind of creating the cycle. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
I
So
think the
I
point
always felt the way about certain OGs is like, come on now, what this is like your album about it's inevitable to see fall off if you don't put dudes on, if you don't like show us the way to a certain extent.
How to maneuver.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll keep it 100 if we talking about the OGs.
Hmm.
We got to keep it real. I feel like um more dudes. from our generation kept it more hundred
Hmm.
than than the OGs themselves. You know what I mean? I feel like dudes, because if you look now, bro, it's like not even about the music. It's like I weigh all that regardless. Not all.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I ain't just talking about music. I'm talking about in the kingdom period.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
But I,
so if you wasn't really about it genuinely kingdom from then you can't really expect dudes to feel responsible for you in any way, uh
Mhm.
to help you in any kind of way. You know what I mean? I totally, and my personal feel, I really feel like our generation had more solo dudes for real, for real.
Mhm.
Oh.
That's how I feel. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. Yeah, for
I would
sure.
And I
definitely
think,
Yeah.
chime in on
I
that.
think, oh,
Uh,
so sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
think, as I was saying and connecting with all two of you, were just talking about when you talk about how you are now yourself an OG. Me and Shaq had a conversation a few months back, I think at the beginning of this year, when I was talking about, when we talk about that movement from 10 years ago, I came back from Orlando from college into an observer of that. I
Mhm.
just got associated with youth ministry and I was there. I was at those different events. I remember, like he said, every Friday it was as if we had something to go to. We could take the youth group to this event, we could take them to that event, Salvation Party, the thing that they was doing down at the big church down, let me not embarrass myself. That big church on the road. Y'all know what they talking about. But
Whatever that may
just all there was so much different stuff like consistently and constantly happening. And then as we saying, a lot of people, if not fell off, they just kind of faded. That whole scene sort of faded and a lot of people out of that scene fell into some things that made them and rightfully, it was commendable the way some of them decided, hold on, let me take a little bit of a step,
Mhm.
because now they had to navigate certain things. And when it comes to now being able to show people things, in your song Testimony, you mentioned like some of these things in your song Snakes. You mentioned some of these things, and talking with youth.
Yeah.
Um, we hear some. I just had a conversation with a young minister the other day, and when we were kind of talking about some of the things he wished he knew coming into the faith, he said he wished he knew more of the hardships that he would face. And you see this sort of responsibility because it's one of my things that I hold firmly to the way the Bahamas is as a nation, not just politically, but also definitely within the church. The older generation than even who y'all are calling the OGs, so
Mhm.
their OGs, I think,
Right.
kind of ducked. Like there was like they kind of ducked out. And so the younger generations for years have been getting hit with all sorts of different things in the politics, financially, and then definitely spiritually, because it's almost as if the really old generation, like grandma them, was like, okay, y'all young babies need to go reach y'all generation. And
Mhm.
it's like we just getting into the
Got
faith.
it. Right.
And
Right.
now we trying to minister to our brethren and our colleagues and our contemporaries, and we end up getting destroyed in different ways, mentally, physically. People went through some stuff. So as an artist, that's why I was commending you in that song Testimony, because you mentioned it. You talked about these different things that people struggle with as they grow in the faith. And I guess as an observer, I'm asking, what more do you think your generation of artists and ministers, especially talking CHH for the sake of the show, what sort of things do y'all feel y'all could bring to the culture to help with that struggle?
Okay, before we get to that, MCK, when you asked that question, you meant
Mhm.
musically or spiritually?
I mean, I think
Both.
in our case, it's connected. I initially meant more musically, like more putting out work and body work and stuff like that. But like I say, obviously it connected in this case because this is the type of music that we make. So I think they
Yeah.
hand in hand. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it is our responsibility if you
Hmm.
if you put it
Mm.
that way. You know what I mean? I feel like bro, dudes, it's like seeing somebody about to fall off a cliff and you don't say nothing.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah, especially you go into it. And the song that you was talking about, Zay, uh, like I mentioned all those things, you know what I mean? Because dudes need to know.
Right.
And to be honest, I go to a lot. Before all this started, I went to a lot of shows where there was a lot of young dudes who like, oh, I wanna do this gospel rap thing. I wanna do a lot of music, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
the thing is, dudes would get discouraged because of the way I present it to them, I guess, because y'all already sound good. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's easy to make music these days.
Hmm.
Now, when I put spirituality into it, it sounds
Yeah,
scary.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Say, see
Yeah.
it? So,
Right.
so, so dudes ain't on that.
Hmm.
Right.
You know what I
Mm,
mean? Niggas like, dudes like, all right, cool, all right, fine, I'm head out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
mhm,
Yeah.
But I just being real, like, bro, this ain't nothing to play with, bro. You
Yeah.
won't
That's right.
play? Bro, this ain't nothing to play with, bro. I had my share of attacks in this thing and my main struggle, and I saw it is for a lot of dudes out here,
Hmm.
women, bro.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that
Yeah.
was my number one struggle when it
mhm,
comes to dealing with music and being a minister. Because you go up there and you singing a song that everybody like. I mean,
mhm,
go to the salon and make me over. And then you got them same shorties who's just worshiping with two hands up in the air. Now they in your DM.
Mhm.
Well, some
mhm,
people have
And now
defense everybody like
saying, and now
some people have
you was preaching and you was worshiping. Now what you could do?
right,
Oh.
yeah, it's a lot,
Saying,
bro. It is like, and even like going back to the age thing, making music, making this type of music at 19, 21 is completely different from making this type of music at 26, 25.
Mhm.
You got real stuff happening, real bills happening, real, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Yep.
you start to get a little frustrated. It's like, you want me to come to this youth group to rap, but I mean, like, it costs gas to get you. It costs, there's some realities that start to kick in for you when you
mhm,
ain't a kid no more. And then for
Mhm.
me, I think one of the big issues too with this era of like seeing this collective group fall off musically is like no community. But I every project I ever put away, I wrote myself 100%. There was never even like people in the room to bounce ideas off of. Obviously, with the exception of the project with me and Rev, and even that alone, like that's a lot, like, to put out that much music, and it's not even like really that level of community. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't even get into when you then put it out. I wouldn't talk about when you doing shows, and
yeah,
because at the end of the day, there's realities. But at the end of the day, like I know who ain't at the show, you know what I'm saying, and I know
Mhm.
who I've helped out, and I know who, you know what I'm saying. I know who exists. Like I'm not like delusional, and all of these things going on. So there's like this idea of community that was really imagined and that really caused a lot of people to fall off. There's people like my like straight up bro who on the streets who is in this culture on the streets, like actually on the streets, bro, who is in this culture. Like this idea of community is there, but there ain't no real community. I can say that as MCK could say, like the concept of community, and obviously I have a role to play, and I do. I haven't even talked to E when last I talked to you. You know what I'm saying? And
that's real. Yeah.
we brothers in this community, but there really is there's a lot of distance in between a lot of us, and it's inevitable that people will fall away and pull away because life is happening.
One of the
I feel
things,
like that's always been an issue over here. Like, dude, like we never. I mean, I feel like at one point it wasn't so bad, but like it
Hmm.
got to a point where it's like literally everybody in they one corner, like no one
Yeah,
checking for no one. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. I feel like now that you bring that up, it's like clearly it's that's like a tactic of the enemy. You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? Because
Yeah. Divide and
yeah,
conquer.
and if you look at scripture, bro, whenever two or more people come together to do something, it was amazing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
perfect example when dudes was building the tower to try to reach God. God say,
Mhm.
these dudes clearly don't want a chord. They can reach
Yeah,
for real. You know what
yeah,
I mean? And so clearly, yeah, I feel like I can't disagree with you on that at all, bro.
yeah, for
So
sure, bro.
what would you feel needs to be done? The two of you, I'm asking this, or three of you, including Rev. What would y'all feel needs to be done to mitigate that sort of situation?
I think if you really look at it, Xavier, right? Both what
Mhm.
Eman mentioned and what MCK mentioned, I don't think it's a function of CHH. I think it's a function of Christian community on the whole, right? I think that that's a
Yeah,
function of the church because
boy.
number one, you're talking about the first thing we touched on was discipleship, right? A discipleship was
Mm.
it wasn't a CHH thing, it wasn't an artist to artist thing. It was something that Jesus instructed us to do. This was a way of life. We are supposed to go out and make disciples. So
Right.
I don't think I agree with Iman where he says I don't think it's your someone else's responsibility to put out your stuff or your vision or what God has given you. But then I
Right,
also
right.
agree with MCK, whereas if you are a part of the community and you know better, then you got to show better. And that's how essentially we got here as believers is because someone had to keep paying it forward. And I could speak for myself, maybe not so much musically, but as a man, especially as a man, as an entrepreneur, I've had great friends and I've had great mentors, and that's why I seem to be, I don't know how we all perceive me, but I seem to be so stable, right? And it's really because of the stability of the persons who have really kind of held me down over the years. And then you move from discipleship, then we're talking about community. That's not a function of artists and music artists. Once again, that's a function of the church, and that's a function of any healthy individual or any healthy family unit or any healthy level of
Organization.
so yeah, organization. So my whole thing is, I think that we're narrowing it down to say music and
Hmm.
to say what's been happening in the microcosms, in the micro fracture of CHH, right? But I think that that's only a fraction of what's really happening in the church in general. Because what we're talking about amongst ourselves, I could tell you now that I've been exposed is happening amongst pastors.
Boy.
It's happening amongst ministers. It's happening amongst heads of fellowships and denominations and all these different things like that. So it is. I don't think it's a unique problem to us, and it speaks to the effectiveness on the whole of the gospel. Because for us, it could be music and media and shows and recordings and these things. But then on the other side, it could be the preach word and how that's getting out and how that affects ministry. But I think like it's so fragmented and it's so segmented, but it's reflecting on more than just our community.
Hmm.
Steve.
Definitely agreed.
I feel like I feel like after listening to rap just now, what came to me was like I feel like we actually like we play a big part of it due to like we I feel like we play a big part when it comes to the dying of the CHH locally. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because first of all, I think a lot of pride got in the way due
Hmm.
to whatever reason. Number one, and dudes really just don't care for one another. You know what I mean?
And
If you really think about it, there was a time where the CHH locally had the biggest impact in this country, even over a preacher, bro. So you saying like
Right.
Wow.
yeah,
these the masses over here literally used to come out to hear what we gotta say, bro. You know
right.
what I mean? I feel like because of the the vision that killed it, and that division because bro, God doesn't move in division. Satan does. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so that's I feel like that's what really killed what we had over here. And no one I guess no one choose to address it.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's been like your experience, Christina, with like all of these in your role and CHH? Like, have you witnessed this stuff?
Yeah, like
Say that again.
I mean, for Christina, I know she a part of the culture as well, like in a different way. And I wonder if
Yeah.
there's like stuff that she's observed too.
yeah, it almost was like a shocking situation because I used to go to every concert. I remember when I first graduated high school, when I had free time and I went to COB, I was going to a concert every single weekend. And then as I was more, because as I went to concerts, I became friends with the artists who ministered. So I developed relationships with them. And
Right.
as I got deeper into that, and when the breaking of the unity, if I could say that, happened, it was kind of shocking. But then God showed me something of that nature happening before that happened. I was kind of like that because I didn't want to believe it, but I got a preview of that divide, and I was actually trying to to bring. Or I actually discovered some quarrels in between the body because there's a lot of artists who don't like each other. Like as I got more and more acquainted with the concerts and the artists and the relationships with them, there isn't like you're talented, you're anointed, but you don't like the person who is to your next after the set. You don't like
Yeah.
the person before you. And you didn't see that as a fan. You were just bouncing and enjoying the music. But when you get in there and you become friends and you actually study the music and you study the community, I mean, if you're not strong in your faith, you would actually question the body because you would
Yeah.
think everybody are friends because
Yeah.
they're so talented and anointed. But uh, it's like Eman says, pride. There's a lot of pride, and people want to do things themselves. Oftentimes, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure. But yeah, but I think we have to talk to each other and have honest conversations. Like people who have issues with each other, talk about them, just air everything out, and kind of like have the important conversations about where we at. Because for me, I feel like there's hope to see a resurgence of CHH back home. Um, I sure that people that with things to say, with a message and something to bring to the table. We just have to be the difference. We can't make the same mistakes, you know. And then I think too, like, wait, don't put so much responsibility on these kids either. Like,
real.
put
That's what happened.
all this responsibility on like 19 and 20-year-olds. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
No,
Like,
let's be real. Though.
mhm.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
One question, very serious.
could be.
Where's the next generation? Like I don't
They
see
there.
it. So,
I don't see it either, but they have to be there.
the
Totally there.
only ones I see
Mhm.
is chosen soldiers. Other than that, bro,
But
I
that's
don't
the
know what's
thing.
going on,
To
bro.
me, the reason why you only see them is because of our actions. Because like, what is there to like step into? Like, it's like you shut the
Yeah,
whole place
yeah,
down. You know what I mean?
that's
They
real.
can't get the bubble, so it's like it's us, and I feel like we have to kind of hold that door back open and cultivate that. But then learn from the
Yeah,
mistakes and don't like. Because I always had this thing where it's like because we rap gospel don't make me a preacher. There are people who have debatable things about that. I don't view myself as a priest or a preacher. As a matter
Mm,
of fact, I view myself more as a philosopher. I live life and I analyze things. I don't consider myself, I'm this preacher. And we was getting treatment like we was archbishop, deacon of what I mean, the Episcopal church. Like, and it was like that's too much responsibility for a 19-year-old, 20-year-old who like I still find in God for myself. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah, just
I
learning from
mean,
that mistake.
I feel like though if God give you the mantle, then bro, you
You give
gotta
me the
carry it.
mantle,
You just
man, give me
gotta
the
be
whole
so
table. You
convinced.
ain't
Well,
You
I
just
mean,
gotta be so convinced of God.
I feel like what all of that generation, this generation of artists need to remember is you have throughout the Old Testament and the New many, many, many stories of appointment, disappointment, and then reappointment, right? you have all of these different journeys where people started off and they thought it was A, it turned into Z, and then had to go back to A. So there's I feel like God does things like this in a way so that your testimonies can be stronger for the next generation. Because
Yes.
now all of you all
Mhm.
have more things to talk about. You all have more things to be able to relate to and to be more relatable and to be more personable.
Right.
Because like you say, you always going around like pastors and then you fell down. So now you all will be more like disciples, able to reach people in there where they are at. So y'all got to get used to some discomfort because y'all need to have some uncomfortable conversations. And like you said, you need to build that community up and open those doors to that younger generation. And
Yeah.
that's my last comment.
Yeah.
Boom.
I
Beautiful.
feel like we actually like. I feel like something was just birthed there. I don't know. I feel like we
Mhm.
actually need to address this for real. Like,
Yeah,
For
for sure.
real.
like no
Y'all do?
glitch. Like seriously, this needs to be addressed. If we
Yeah,
Yeah.
really kingdom people.
yeah. Because I have people
Right.
like telling me we fall off, right? Like I fall off, we fall off. I don't like that. I don't like that's the thing about us. Like our era is like the fall off era. We can't have that way. We can't have that.
Hey, but hey, go back to no division. Hey, y'all fall off, bro.
We in the
You
fall
all
off
gotta
era,
come
man.
back.
I
Y'all
can't
gotta
take
come
that
back
away.
together, bro.
Like
I don't
God
want
just
to.
when I was studying, doing a teaching, preparing for a teaching, God just brought me a revelation. The vision is actually two visions.
Mm.
Like
Wow. Yep.
we can't
Die
walk
vision. Yep.
together if we don't agree. So like we
Right.
all got to come together and reveal what God has given us and see where our dot lies in this big picture. It's a massive painting.
Mm-hmm.
It is all kind of different uh images, but we have a little piece of it. But we just have to see where it lies on the canvas. It's not about us.
Right.
Facts. Facts. That's good.
Well,
Most,
Rev, wrap it up then.
most definitely. It's definitely been good chatting with you here tonight. We wish we could have go a bit longer, but most definitely we're gonna have you back at another time. But before you go, a new album is dropping in December called Inevitable. We want Eman. We need a little exclusive. We can need that little thing. We can need
But right
something
now,
for you, Eman.
Right now.
Right now on the spot. We need it.
um, I give you some for my intro and say, "Welcome to my heart, where the worship is deeper. Evil surrounds the mind of a firm believer. Planted by rivers of water lies a keeper. Demons creeping through the shadows. Worship coming out the speaker. Little energy given. Truly, my spirit's weaker. Not defeated either. Needed out this place of leisure. Broken mirror makes it harder to mirror my redeemer. Turned the beat up to block these thoughts of being a leader. Heart was broken. Life can truly end up feeling like waves of the ocean. Side to side in a boat that you have no control in. No matter what, Jehovah be the rock I put my hope in. Fragrance of worship is potent. Told him that I inevitably worship what's gotten into me. Spiritual energy, nothing can really get to me. I may get puzzled, but Jesus is still a centerpiece. Cleverly made these melodies. Every knee will bend to He. INEVITABLE describes the worship in me. No matter what I may go through, I know what one thing will be. I will forever worship He that took my place on the tree. Let it be.
Oh,
Let's
Pause.
go. Let's go.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow.
You heard it here
Boy,
first on the breakdown.
Family. Fire. Fire.
Coming to you
bruh.
December 2nd. I mean December.
Looking
Yes.
forward,
Awesome.
bro.
Awesome,
Right.
Eman. It's been great talking to you, man. Guys, thank you
Appreciate
all
it.
for all of you sticking stayed on the line. I know we had some internet issues tonight. We're gonna try resolve that by the next time we go live, and just understand that it's completely out of our hands, but we're trusting God for better.
Yes, sir. The most free pasta.
All right, so
It's gonna be on YouTube too, so check it out on YouTube.
yeah, it's
Yep.
gonna be on
Yep.
YouTube. You could
And y'all,
rewatch.
please, like, for the next breakdown, y'all could have Johnny and row him and tell him bring us the music.
I see a campaign while I'm going out. We can do
Johnny
that. We can
Boy
get on
coming view.
that. I
Thank y'all guys very much. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. on Facebook and on YouTube. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Big shout out goes out to Eman. Make sure cop the
Yes, sir.
on in December.
Inevitable.
You heard it here first.
It's inevitable that we will.
It's inevitable that it's going to come out.
That'll be.
All right. But good night, everybody. It's been real. Sign out from the breakdown.
Man, like you gonna sign out.